Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Thursday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the USA. It is 1830 Zulu on July 11th, 2024. And this is the Manufacturer Showcase brought to you by DX Engineering. And in the Manufacturer Showcase, we talk to one of over now 180 different manufacturers that we represent here at DX Engineering. And in a lot of cases, we've got lots of stock on the shelves. And today, we're very happy to have Jim, KE8ULJ from Carlson Communications. Hello, Jim.
Hello. Hey, thank you for the invitation, Tim.
Yeah, it's great to have you here again, Jim. And of course, we saw you at Hamvention, where your booth was very busy. Jim, give us a little overview about your company and what kind of stuff you're making, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty, and maybe you've got some show and tell for us.
Okay. Well, primarily, Carlson Communications was involved with radio equipment for public safety and occasionally antenna infrastructure. We decided to get into this tilt antenna base 25G tower type products because the market needed something perhaps that was a little more stout and tighter tolerances. And so, we began building that last January or so. And then with your there's Scott Jones's suggestion, we went after the roof tower business, basically designed it for production, and came up with some ideas that make it a easier installation, a multiple different sizes, and also it was more aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, you've got some illustrations there, you see, of three different types, and the whole object here is to allow you to put a full size, like hex beam or something like this antenna on top of your roof, and manage it with rotation, whether you've got just azimuth rotation or azimuth EX as well. This tower puts it all together.
So beautiful construction, Jim. What is the tower made of?
It's made out of basically it's all aluminum and with stainless steel bolts. I'll show you right here. That this happens to be a master bearing that's mounted onto the top of the tower flanges. And these flanges have the angles already built into them, so that you don't have to do any bending or anything when it comes to the final installation. Just assemble the angles on it, and then bring in the cross bracing and so forth in the shelves, and it'll be right on, 8 degrees basically slope. So this is our secret sauce. And everything's made here with 3/16 aluminum on this part, and 3/16 as well for the angles on the legs.
And so, Jim, that's for the top of the tower. That's for a thrust bearing, right?
Yep.
And what thrust bearing was that you were showing?
That's a Yaesu 2.5 inch pipe. So I think it's a model GS-065, I believe.
Okay, so that's the Yaesu thrust bearing mounted on the adapter that goes there. And if you have any questions for Jim, just go ahead and put those in the chat, and we'll take a look at the questions as well. So Jim, it's made out of aluminum, all stainless steel bolts and other construction. So how's this going to stand up to the weather? What if I was down in Texas or down in Florida, close to coast, to saltwater, things like that? How's this going to hold up?
Well, the aluminum is it's an alloy that is pretty good with saltwater and so forth. I'm not super sure of its lifetime there, but I do know we've sold other products with that same type of materials and hadn't really had a problem with it. Um, the I was going to mention another thing about the foot angle on it. Previously you sort of had to brace up your feet because they didn't always meet the roof lines. Now we put a built-in angle into the foot so that um, it fits the roof nice and flat.
Right. So, I mean, this really makes for a nice installation. In fact, the first tri-bander antenna that I had at my parents' house had I was on the roof, and I had a roof mount. It may have been, a TV antenna roof mount, but this is not your grandfather's TV antenna roof mount, right?
No, in fact, the square foot of wind loading goes up to 15 square feet of antenna size, and that that allows in the way that that it mounts into the roof allows for I mean it we don't expect any problems at all there.
Yeah, and so what about the instructions and the manual and so forth? Getting this assembled, how hard is it to put together, and how's your instructions?
Well, basically, it's got somewhere around 10 photographs of each phase, and you start out with just the legs, the angle, and then you put in the cross bracing on one dimension, and then you rotate it, do the next one, the left side, right side, then the top. When I put it together to do that, to do a demonstration, it takes about 25 minutes to assemble the bolts.
So, I mean, I think that you've spent a lot of time on the documentation here with photos. Jim, are you seeing your documentation now?
Yeah, um, yeah. There you go. Um, yeah, that is actually an earlier version that was done with uh, the prior owner of the product. Um, but there's an updated version that brings some new photos and a few more things into it.
Okay, yeah. Well, I apologize. I've got one of the later, but you get the idea. There's a lot of detail in this, so that you can really put it together without a whole lot of problems.
Yeah.
Let me go to the chat room here, because I think we have some questions. I want to start out with Bobby, KF5GTX. He's in Oklahoma City. Bobby, good friend, and thanks for being here, Bobby. We've got Jose, X-Ray 2 Zulu Zulu in Mexico, and in Scotland, it's Ray, George Mike Zero Victor Radio Papa, and from Vermont, we've got Chris on here, Kilo India 1 Papa. And Bobby asks, would this support an alpha SPID rotator along with the DB218 SAT antenna? I plan to use this for satellite communications on 2 meters, 70 centimeters, and 1.2 gigs.
Okay, so and the specification of wind loading for that antenna, do we know what that would be already? Because I'm not familiar with that model.
Yeah, I don't have the wind loading for the DB218 SAT right handy, but I'm thinking these are smaller satellite VHF UHF antennas, so it's a good chance, but we want to make for sure that it's less than 15 square feet, Jim.
Right, and some of the other ones that we've been looking at for this like the Leo pack, that it was under 10. I think that was 5 or 6 square feet of loading, and that's using a Yaesu Azel type dual axis.
Right.
We see I see that taking off. We're going to put together one and do a demo with it at some point here. For Leo.
Yeah, Yeah, and Don has, would this work on a manufactured home with no attic? So, what do you think about that?
We've encountered this before and did a little bit of analysis, and it would require some substantial roof work to be able to make that happen. We did end up in one case with the guy had like a tool shed that was 16 by 15 or so, something like that. That what we were able to make that work for him.
Okay, good.
That's
Because you can move the feet, right?
yep, yeah.
Yeah,
They swivel and there you can go on either side of the angle, so you can swivel it one way or swivel it the other.
right, right. Okay, well, that makes that work. We've got from Brazil, it's Papa Papa 5 Radio Tango and WA4 Mike Oscar Mike. Dan is on from Kentucky. And Bobby says the wind survival is 70 miles an hour. There's also a wind loading specification, Bobby, that but you can email Jim after the show, and I'm sure he can help you with that. Our friend W5JCS is on, also from Oklahoma, and he says these roof towers look great for my VHF UHF beams. And Jim, in a also the you have the base piece for Roan 25, which is outstanding, just heavy duty.
Well, at the Invention show, there was quite a few people commented on that um, because I had one on the table where you could operate it, and um, you know the forces that it will take are very close to two times of the forces that the other two models. And then we also prize it because the accuracy of how it fits into the tubes, is plus or minus about 15 thousandths, and that fits the tubes, clearance quite well.
Right, right. No, that's great. And Don N5 Sugar Kilo Tango says, "Okay, I'm going to put in a shed for a ham shack, so I think this will work for him." Bobby says his wind area is 1.1 square feet, so
Yeah,
that we're plenty good there. Bobby says it weighs about 7 pounds,
right.
so I think Bobby's going to be in good shape, don't you think, Jim?
Oh yeah. And there is there's a website with some information about what antennas can be. I think we have about 60 or so antennas listed on it, and it's sometimes if your antennas using 6 or 5 or something like this for your HF, you can fit a 2 meter up on the mast as well. Then
Yes, right. Yeah, you can add additional things.
yeah,
Well, Jim, thank you so much for coming on the show here today, and we look forward to additional items that you're going to dream up and manufacture for guys. This is a really nice adaptation to so you can put an antenna on the top of your house and make use of that. And we wish you lots of luck, and we're here to help sell them.
thank you for the invitation, Tim.
All right, Jim, all the best to you. And thanks to all of you for watching today. And we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the weekend special. Until then, 73 from DX Engineering.
Bye bye.